Since Charlie Kirk got murdered, there has been a lot of buzz in Iowa about Governor Reynolds' request for flags to be lowered due to this tragedy, while Johnson County Supervisor, who I will not name, refused the governor's order. So that sparks the question, is Iowa broken? And is it repairable? I must say, there are some very upset people out there, and you'd begin to think that it is broken if you read these comments like me. In this video, we will go over the top 5 complaints, and you, the audience, can decide if they are warranted or not. You may be surprised by some of these. Let's take a look. Number 1, politics. Maybe it is the internet, or maybe it is real. But on Reddit, it sure seems like there is a lot of hostility in this realm of politics. I won't repeat what some have said on Reddit, but let's just say it has gotten nasty in the comments. I used Politico.com to look at how our state, Iowa, voted. And as you can see on the map, only 5 counties voted blue or for Democrat, and all the other counties voted red. The 5 counties that voted blue are home to Waterloo, Cedar Rapids, Iowa City, Des Moines, and Ames, Iowa. Each county has much more of a population than the red counties. Johnson County, where Iowa City and the University of Iowa are located, voted the most for Democrat, with just over 68% voted for Kamala Harris in the last election over Donald Trump, while Des Moines, Ames, and Cedar Rapids all were similar, with just over 54% voting for Kamala Harris in the last presidential election. Black Hawk County was the closest, with 50% voting for Harris, while Trump got just over 48% of the votes there. While Charlie Kirk's death brought out a lot of emotions and showed that there can be a lot of tension, at least on the internet, when it comes to politics. In real life experience, in my life, it seems like it's mostly an internet thing. As my day-to-day life rarely becomes an issue with politics, let me slip in here and mention that if you are considering moving to Iowa, we have helped many people from all over the United States and world. So if you are moving here, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email, as I absolutely love working with people and making it a smooth move to the beautiful state of Iowa. Number 2 is too many cops in Iowa. I grew up in Anamosa, Iowa, which is a smaller town of around 6,000 people. We're always curious how our town had the funds for so many cops. My wife grew up in New Hampton, Iowa, which has around 3,600 people living there, and she mentioned they had the same thing in their town with a ton of cops for the population. Well, some Reddit users like these two on your screen right now, going back and forth, have a common sentiment in Huxley, Iowa, that they had cops breathing down their neck as well. If you read that comment, you will get a good laugh as well. Iowa is doing well in crime rates, so I think this complaint, although somewhat warranted, is a little bit over the top. The third big complaint, the climate is hot and humid in the summer. Sometimes people who reach out to me overlook this part of Iowa. We have a humid climate, and the corn really enhances the humidity. In fact, it's fall right behind me right now, and we had a warm up at the beginning of October, which is a couple weeks ago, and it was dang near 90 degrees during the day. Well, at this time of the year, the corn is drying up, and even though it was hot, it was nothing like June, July, or August, 90-degree days. The humidity for the warm-up in the beginning of October this fall was 20% less humid than 90 degrees in the months I just mentioned. If you sweat easily, or a hot and humid climate is something you don't enjoy, just know this about our climate here in Iowa. The good thing about the humidity in the summer is that for gardening or growing food, it is ideal, as the moisture really helps with growing your own produce. Number 4 on our list is major flooding. This complaint I do feel is very warranted, and the Reddit commenter who wrote this complaint is in northwest Iowa, where there was record-breaking flooding in the summer of 2024 that got overlooked somehow. In my area, in the eastern Iowa, the rivers flooded back in 2008 really bad and caused devastating property loss. In Cedar Rapids and other smaller communities in eastern Iowa were all flooded as well. Iowa's rivers are not deep for the most part, and certain areas have a huge flood risk due to them being in a floodplain. When you are moving to Iowa, you should be aware of potential flooding, not just in the major rivers or larger rivers across the state, but you should also be cautious of smaller rivers and creeks flooding as well. Cold winters is the last complaint that came up the most. I do have to say that the winters seem much shorter every 10 years here, and now it seems like most winters don't get cold by Iowan standards until around January. December, the last few years, has been moderately comfortable, and in March, you start to see the weather shifting big time. January and February can be brutal depending on the year, and you can see extremely cold night temperatures and even daytime temperatures in those months. During the day, it can be below zero on the coldest days in January and February, where at night it can get well below zero and even under 20 below zero. The further north you go in the state, the colder it's going to get, while in the southern part of the state, it's going to be a lot warmer. All in all, it could definitely be much worse than we have it here in Iowa. In conclusion, politics are not just an issue in Iowa, it will be anywhere you go, and all states have people who believe in one side or the other. That will never ever change, and there will always be political turmoil no matter where you decide to call home. The cops being everywhere in the state is true, and especially in some of the smaller towns, it seems like overkill. But the state does rank well in crime, and maybe the cop presence helps with our crime rates. It does get hot and humid in Iowa, and there is no way Iowa will stop growing corn. There is nothing anyone can do about the humidity in the summers, as it is here to stay. Major flooding does happen, and to be honest, we avoided it this year in 2025, but in my opinion, it's just a matter of time until eastern Iowa and the whole entire state gets flooding again. And it should not be forgot that northwest Iowa just had record-breaking flooding just one summer ago. Cold winters is another complaint that seems a little bit overstated, as the winters have been mild for quite some time. I'd love to hear your thoughts about all these in the comments. Let me know if you still think Iowa is a great place to call home, or if you think Iowa is completely wrecked. Also, don't forget to watch our latest video where we go over pros and cons of living in Iowa that should be on your screen now.